As the match intensifies by the minute, all of the players glue their eyes on the ball soaring through the air, and Ness intercepts it with a world-class pass. He quickly decides to pass over the ball to Grimm, and Grimm doesn't keep it more than a second and passes it in a blazing arc towards Kaiser. Kaiser is staring through the field, ready to make a name for himself once again, but two knuckleheads would rather die than let him score. Kunagami and Shido arrive, tackling each other like barbarians, but Kunagami manages to deflect the ball to Raichi. Raichi grins as he finally has some action, but before he can do anything, Charles arrives and snatches the ball from under his nose, telling him he's only a meaty shield meant for shoving into matches to buy time. Charles murks, calling him a sweaty duel bro. Raichi is so infuriated he's on the verge of having a stroke. Hiori, on the other hand, realizes this is bad. He also curses, for only if he had backed up Raichi, they could have had the ball in their possession. But it's too late now. His thoughts are all over the place. He doubts his ability to outweigh him, and if he will ever be able to catch up to Charles's imagination. He is Picasso when it comes to football, and while he's looking for chances, he needs to think 2 steps ahead. Hiori also realizes his own limitations, and it's hard, even impossible, from the get-go. Because Charles doesn't play around, he kills on sight. Fighting him is like dying over and over again until they can find an effective method. He's like an impossible-to-beat video game boss, the big baddie at the end. But sure enough, the boss makes the game interesting. Hiori vows that he will beat Charles no matter what and clears the situation for his king. Charles smirks as if sensing what Hiori is thinking. Isagi tries to intercept him, but Rin doesn't let that be. He tells Charles to hand over the ball, and Charles smirks. Surprisingly, instead of handing it over to Rin, he dribbles away from both of them, saying that he's just a boring knob. Isagi grits his teeth in frustration, as he has once again used Rin as bait to dribble past them. Hiori crutches up to Charles, telling him not so fast as he's predicted this outcome. Charles, on the other hand, just smiles, telling him that he's doing good for a starry-eyed kid. But he's the one who's to step behind. He makes it impossible to predict a pass. An outside cross kick from such a distance that it is unthinkable. Isagi looks at the ball in horror as it arcs towards Shido. Isagi realizes that Charles is only toying with them, and he can't outwit them. Right now, the whole field is in his grasp. Kunagami, on the other hand, refuses to let his fellow meathead get the ball. With a ferocious kick, he manages to stop it, and Hiori looks at him in surprise. He wasn't anticipating that. Charles is dumbstruck. How can he overtake Shido, the only one who can match his freak? Isagi is glad that Kunagami was able to intercept it, but Kunagami falls from the force of the kick. He's been covering Shido from the start of the match, and it's clear as day that his performance is off the charts on a higher level. So the plan makes use of his physique so that he can stay on Shido. But it looks like he has some personal feelings of revenge towards his fellow meathead, and that is drawing out his peak performance. After all, a man who is true to his sense of justice is an unchained beast, and Kunagami is an emotional creature, so his mentality is the self-styled ego. Isagi feels himself unraveled. As the game starts to make sense, he realizes Kunagami's deal. He also recalls a much calmer Kunagami thanking him for the pass, realizing that he's the same since back in the day. He really does have a fiery heart, and that fiery heart keeps him alive. His ego is burning and enabling him to play at a higher dimension than the others. He then looks at Hiori, who is sweating like crazy. He has also realized that Kunagami is all over Shido, and that has decreased Charles's roles and options. So all he needs to do is take advantage of this situation and change the balance of the field. Shido grins, telling Kunagami that he's a pain in the bottom. Kunagami, on the other hand, wonders if that's all he's got. Can he live up to his name of an explosion demon? He also taunts Shido, saying that his tears are drenching his passion. This infuriates Shido and clouds his judgment. Isagi zooms towards Kunagami, asking him what he's talking about. He would have misfired too if it weren't for his assist. Kunagami looks at him in surprise, wondering what's up with him. Why is he busting his chops? Isagi asks Kunagami for help with his explosion. He runs past Kunagami, telling them that they should each stick together. Kunagami looks at him in surprise, wondering if he's lost it. Isagi, on the other hand, realizes that if their opponents are using the ultimate chemical reaction, then they will produce an even greater ultimate reaction. The best of the best, a triple flow chemical reaction that will comprise Kunagami, Hiori, and himself. All of the players are cheering for their respective kings, as Kiora and Karasu are going neck to neck for the ball. Karasu seems to have the upper hand, with Kiora struggling a bit. Charles, on the other hand, is hot on his trail, but he looks over his shoulder and notices Hiori following him close behind. His eyes burn with the determination to outwit Charles no matter what. Hiori realizes that he needs to effectively use this movement, while Kunagami is blocking Shido. As it is clear that Charles likes passing to Shido, now he will have no other option but to pass it to Rin, and he is also certain that he might look for someone else. He tries to home in on who will be his next target. Will it be Rin, or maybe he will go through with Nanise or someone else? Hiori tries to home in on who will be the best choice for the pass. He also reprimands himself for being a dumbass because he can't beat Charles with this level of thinking. He needs to think deeper. He needs to think just like Charles. How would a contrarian think? He racks his brain trying to come up with the answer and trying to emulate his way of thinking. He passes it to Charles, and Charles smiles, telling Karasu he's done a great job. He looks at the ball soaring through the area. Kunagami, on the other hand, is all over Shido, managing to keep him at bay. Kaiser realizes this is the best time to act. He tells Ness there is time, and he needs to get his mind in the game. Ness is all ready to serve his king and glaze him. They both zoom towards the ball. As the trio is zooming towards the ball, Charles wonders what the hell is going on with this rosy duo. Rin runs past Charles, looking at him with longing. Charles smiles, telling Rin that he is just where he wanted to be. But once again, like a naughty child, he uses Rin as bait and kicks past Ness. Ness and Kaiser look at the ball going away and wonder what the hell is going on. They've closed off this course to Shido. Charles smiles like a maniac, saying that he's not aiming for Rin. They realize that the course for the ball has been closed by 99%. But Hiori manages to surpass his limits and think like Charles. He intercepts the ball, expecting it. He smiles, saying that he's cracked the code, and normally nobody would be able to take the shot. But with his rotten personality, only he could do it. Hiori grimaces, saying that he's figured out how to beat that comedian. Charles looks at him in disbelief, calling him creepy. Rin, Shido, and Kaiser are speechless at Hiori's latest performance. Isagi, on the other hand, feels as if the world is unraveling around him. Hiori is winning and the field is going to turn. He feels a vortex trying to suck them in. Hiori tells Isagi to snap out of it. It's time to move. Raichi, on the other hand, is still furious about being called a meat shield. He tries to get on with the counterattack. Shido and Kunagami rush towards the ball. Raichi, on the other hand, is grumbling to himself that he's not a meat shield, meant for shoving duels. He passes the ball spectacularly to Hiori and tells him to go faster than ever. But a weird presence tells him not to celebrate so fast. Rin appears in front of him, with eyes blazing in determination. He tells Hiori to watch out where he's going. Karasu smiles, saying that he will beat him to a mush. Najiro also runs towards them, vowing not to let them pass. Tsurugi is also trying to block off Hiori. 3 players are trying to block Hiori, as they have deemed him to be a high-priority target. Hiori, on the other hand, is ready for all 3 of them, even teasing them that they should watch where they're going. They look at him, whirl around, and pass with a rapid cross. The ball shoots past them, and they can't believe that peak performance shot. The ball arches towards Isagi, and Isagi is ready to get it, because it's time to continue their ultimate play and evolve further. The ball zooms towards Isagi, and Isagi is ready to get the pass he was promised 3,000 years ago. The ultra-serious pass is coming through with a killer cross, setting up the stage for Isagi to steal the show. Hiori looks at him in surprise, relaying with his eyes that the pass is coming, and Isagi is ready, it's now or never, to deliver his own top performance. He's concentrating on the ball, and all the blockers are trying to get in his way, but Isagi is too fast to be caught by slowpokes like them. He zooms past them, and Shido is also trying to get a piece of him. He smiles threateningly at Isagi, and Isagi realizes he has to be better than that hot-headed demon. So he just zooms away from Shido, and Kunagami arrives, keeping that explosive demon on bay, and passing the ball to Isagi with a marvelous header. He tells Isagi that now they're even. Isagi realizes that that's the ego he wants to see. That's the chemical reaction he's been craving. His eyes burn with desire as he looks at Kunagami going down. Until now, Kunagami has been refusing to pass the ball to him and has been trying to score by himself. That's why no one could predict that he would pass the ball to him. That's the top performance combo that they could create. The goal box is wide and clear, and Isagi is in his zone. He's getting on in his groove, but before he can take the shot, a dark and ominous shadow calls out to him, saying that he's too lukewarm. It turns out rain is hot on his trail, and his eyes are burning with fury as he reminds him not to forget about him. He hears another ominous shadow call out to him, and it turns out it's Kaiser. All three of the kings are after the ball, trying to make a name for themselves. Isagi looks at them in horror, realizing that things are turning south. He can't believe that he's been focusing on his own movements, and that's why he couldn't react to their approach quickly. Instead of reading the game's flow and situation, they were focusing their play in a strategy to destroy him. Isagi looks at him in surprise, realizing that's their top performance. He looks at the ball drawing closer and wonders what he should do. Should he abort the mission? Should he go through? Because he'll reach the ball first. A voice inside of him tells him to shoot with everything he's got, to destroy every half-assed shot that he can come up with. Kaiser, on the other hand, wants him to trap the ball so that Kaiser can steal it and shoot. Isagi racks his brain cells, trying to come up with an answer. Should he use a right direct or a left direct? A bright light blazes around him as he decides to create a new attack, right there and right then. He wheels his left leg over the ball, spinning it at a high speed. Rin wonders if this is a fake left, and Kaiser is glad, thinking that his time is about to come. But he doesn't know that instead of trapping the ball, Isagi gives it his all and shoots it like a missile. The ball slams against the goal post, and Isagi earns their team another goal with his new two-gun volley shot. The announcer yells out, "There's a goal for Bastard Mansion," and the crowd goes wild all around the world. Teenagers scream, and kids squeal in joy at the amazing goal that Isagi has scored. He has pulled off an otherworldly mid-air direct shot, and that has brought Bastard Mansion to a tie. Isagi yells at the top of his lungs, celebrating his newfound victory and respect. Meanwhile, Kaiser and Rin scream in horror and despair. The other players can't believe what Isagi has pulled off, switching his shooting foot mid-air. Another one calls him a monster. Isagi, on the other hand, is still having his stroke, celebrating his victory. Another player realizes that Isagi is still evolving at a breakneck pace. Shido, on the other hand, is glad to witness such a fantastic explosion of passion. Kunagami looks at him from a distance, telling him not to expect more passes from him. He looks at him coldly, calling him an over-dependent egoist. Isagi returns his gaze, saying that they will keep devouring each other. Hiori, on the other hand, is celebrating the goal as he jumps on his shoulders and tells him that that was amazing. Isagi smiles and dabs him up, telling him that that goal was heavenly. Hiori grins, wondering how much did he really visualized. Did he anticipate his alley cross and Kunagami's assist? Isagi fist bumps his bro, telling him that he believes he will send the perfect pass. And Kunagami's assist was a wild card, but he had realized his mindset. Kunagami was running up and down the field to contain Shido, so there was a high chance of him being involved in a situation like this, and he was probably the only one who believed that he could duel against Shido. Hiori realizes that he has combined 3 wild cards to bring out an otherworldly goal. It's something only he can pull off, and that must be his ultimate trump card. Isagi looks away, nervously, saying that he's wrong. He doesn't plan on scoring this way for long. Hiori wonders why when it's working. Isagi explains that he saw himself being wide open after he broke through the fence, and he didn't expect Rin and Kaiser to close in like that. As he had to improvise on the fly, the attack that inspired him to pull off this move was Nagi's juggling shot. Hiori cocks his hat in confusion, recalling the shot Nagi made against them. Isagi agrees, saying that he had that image in his mind. That's why he had to improvise after those two killed his options. He was able to recall that and recreate it. Hiori looks at him in surprise, realizing the shot was a combo of Nagi's creativity and his own direct shot. Isagi agrees, saying that he stole that move from Nagi, and it's true that he wouldn't have been able to pull off something like that. He imagines 2 desert eagles blazing behind him. Now he is an ambidextrous killing machine. Hiori takes a moment to soak it all in, realizing it means no matter which direction a defender comes from to block a shot, he can fake them in mid-air and shoot after they destroy his timing. And the goalkeeper will also have a hard time predicting where it will come from. Hiori tells him that if he can recreate that shot over and over again, he would be unstoppable. Isagi realizes that he has a chance to become the best in the world because he has the holy grail of shooting styles at his grasp. Noah looks at him and compliments him on his amazing shot. He tells his team that they are switching off. Now the attacks will be centered around Isagi, but now they will try to lean towards the Isagi-centric system. He also tells Grim that he is out for this round and Corona is in. Corona hops at the chance. Isagi, on the other hand, can't believe that Grim is getting pulled. Now Kaiser has lost another pawn and only has Ness to support him, whereas Isagi has gained another piece to use. Corona happily jogs towards Isagi as Grim walks away. His mood matches his name. Isagi looks at his bro in surprise, realizing Noah trusts his instincts to lead them to victory now that Corona is in the game. Corona looks at him, saying that he is going to have a much easier time controlling the game. It's time to do it. Kaiser, on the other hand, feels lost. He looks at the sky as Isagi realizes that if he scores another goal, he will be able to crush Kaiser completely and utterly, and he will be able to take over the team as well. If only he can score another goal, he will surpass Grim and become the best player in the Nego Egoist League. Isagi steals his resolve, realizing that he still needs to make the twin gun shot his own. He can visualize it clearly. His goal of being the best player in the world is around the horizon, and he needs to hurry up and restart the game to get there faster. Kaiser is scratching the tattoo on his neck over and over again. He can't believe that Isagi is having an awakening. He recalls Isagi's world-class shot that he used against himself. His value as a striker has skyrocketed, and he is going to take over the team. Kaiser wonders if he is going to be buried, if he will lose to Isagi. Ness looks at his hero, wallowing in despair. He is also shaken to the core as he is the only one left in the formation. Kaiser tells him to shut it and just move on. Kaiser vows to send Isagi into the deepest pit of despair, and he needs to perfect that impossible weapon as well. After all, everything that he has is being stolen by Isagi. As soon as the game restarts, Rin takes the lead, zooming through the field with his ball. Charles waves his hands, trying to catch Loki's attention and ask him to swap him out. Rin wonders why. All of the players look at him in surprise as Charles says that Shido is being blocked, so his passes won't go through. And this is boring for him, so he needs to quit. Loki is on the verge of having a stroke. He can't deal with this sassy brat's tantrums anymore. Raichi and Hiori are all over Rin's trail, trying to keep him from passing the ball with a double press. Rin grits his teeth in frustration, and his buddy calls him out, telling him to pass the ball as the tables have turned. Corona, on the other hand, arrives and snatches the ball while teasing his opponents at the same time. He zooms past a few defenders and locks in on Isagi. He passes the ball to Isagi, but before it can reach its target, Kaiser arrives and snatches the ball mid-air. Shocking Corona, Kaiser calls out to Ness without turning to look at him. It's time for the Magnus effect. He grins crazily, getting ready to retake his position as the leader of the team. 10 days before the German team's match, they were in the field and practicing their shots. Ness was stretching his arms and wondering about the Magnus effect. Kaiser explains that normally a kicked ball will be influenced by the air flowing around it, and that's why it rotates up and down. He explains the mechanics of a ball, where air causes it to spin. At the same time, the power becomes stronger. The flow of air and the direction of the ball's rotation are different, and the power becomes weaker. So it tilts, and the direction goes stronger, and that is the Magnus effect, where it floats up, and the trajectory bends. Ness realizes what he's talking about, and Kaiser gets up, saying that up till now, his shots rely on speed and force, and a straight trajectory. But this new technique will add rotation to his Kaiser impact. He looks at the ball and tells Ness that he just needs to know where to kick the ball, and he needs to hone it to perfection. He locks in at a target and surprisingly kicks it in a blazing arc that goes straight into the goalpost. With Kaiser's impact, speed, and force, it has turned into a banana shot, arching like a boomerang around all the players. Ness looks at his hero in surprise, wondering if this is the magic he's been seeking all his life. With this, he can shoot even if a direct line to the goalpost is blocked off. Kaiser smiles, saying that this is just the beginning. This was the ideal scenario where the ball was set up for him to aim perfectly, and Ness realizes what he's saying. He needs to get used to a game where the ball is constantly moving, and that will be insanely difficult. It's a high-risk and high-reward strategy. Ness and Kaiser pass the ball among each other over and over again, and Ness grins, realizing they're perfect. This new weapon is just what they need to make a name for themselves. Kaiser blocks in and looks at 3 defenders and 2 other players trying to block him from every side, but the conditions have already aligned. It's time for the Carnage Festival to begin. He looks at the ball and empties his mind of all lingering thoughts. The ball is still moving, and that doesn't matter because he locks in on a tiny target on the ball and shoots with everything he's got. The ball follows an impossible trajectory, zooming towards the goal. Right. He looks at the ball in surprise, wondering where it is going. Nijiro can't believe what he's witnessing, and Kaiser prays to the heavens above that the ball bends to his whim. The ball does bend, but several meters away from the goal, Ness looks at the ball in horror, realizing there wasn't enough spin. Isagi wonders how Kaiser can mess up a shot. Kaiser collapses right there and right then, as he can't believe what he's feeling at the moment. He yells his heart out of frustration, and Isagi realizes that Kaiser is falling apart, unraveling.